I'm Wdvma. I'm a French writer. I have published 6 novels so far. My writing is about feminism and countercultures. I've been also translating books from English. I'm finishing currently the translation of Valérie Solana's Up Your Ass theater piece, which is to be released next June 2022. And the project I am applying for in this residency is created with Valérie Mito.
Hello, I'm Valérie Mito. I'm a French documentary filmmaker. I've made 6 long feature documentaries so far. I work about prejudice, discrimination. I've made. You want me to talk about my films? It's going to be long. No, I'm not going to do that. I will send you the links. I think it's better.
Yes, dear. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
The project I'm working on is a novel, and it is woven in a documentary film project. The idea is to go to San Francisco for a month or 2 and interview former singers and musicians from the queer punk feminist scene in the 90s and 2000s. I've been traveling a lot in San Francisco in the past, and I have made friendships with people from this community. For instance, the former lead singer of the band Tribate, or the singer of the band Cypher in the Snow, and some of the members of the band L7. The idea is to collect live testimonies and also music and visual archives of this specific countercultural movement rooted in the late 90s and early 2000s. And the idea is to take the material and use it to create a novel and a film documentary.
And we've been knowing each other for 18 years now?
18 years.
And it's kind of obvious that we have to make this project together, and we are linked to San Francisco. I know San Francisco quite well too, and we are linked to this person, Lynn Breedlove, which I filmed in a movie called Girl or Boy, My Sex Is Not My Gender. And so now the idea will be to entangle those 2 medias, Wendy writing a novel, me filming the interviews that are going to enrich Wendy's writing, and then mix all this in the movie, like having some part of the romance inside the movie.
So why interviewing and collecting material from this countercultural movement from the late 90s, early 2000s? First, because this story hasn't been told enough. There is this specific period of the Riot Girls movement, born in Olympia, USA, that has spread in different cities, including San Francisco. We have noticed that the punk, queer, feminist scene from that period has infused and inspired lots of young queers and feminists throughout the years. Nowadays, in the post-Me Too era, we think it's important to reclaim and reinvent the punk queer roots of feminism and go back to the source, which is San Francisco, late 90s, early 2000s. Why a novel and a documentary?
Why?
Why?
As I said, to enrich I think the 2 medias are going to enrich themselves. And also because, as you said, it's like a milestone that we forgot, that the young generations forgot. And it's a very strong energy that came out from this movement, and we should know more about it to get some inspiration.
Mm-hmm. So we already have contacts with some of the activists and artists of this punk queer feminist scene, and Valérie has been already shooting 2 films, 2 feature-length documentaries in the USA. One is called Kings of the World, and the other one is called fille ou garçon, mon sexe n'est pas mon genre.
Girl or boy, my sex is not my gender.
So we are used to travel and work in the United States, and we have made contact already with some of the artists and activists we would like to interview. The idea to have these two ways of expressing ourselves on this topic, the novel gives me the possibility to create a story, recreate a story, and a fiction about this period. The documentary, on the contrary, is bringing us to the reality and the root of the movement. Also, we think that they will target different audiences, and they can enrich each other. I think I will include in the novel the making of the documentary, and Valérie will include in her documentary the making of the novel.
We'll never make enough feminist movies and novels anyway, and this very particular movement we have to know more about it. It's important. It's a huge energy we should not spare.
French feminism has been inspired a lot by American waves of feminism, and as we know, particular queer punk feminist scene, which was bringing some messages to the crowds on stage, has been inspiring also European. So there are links between the USA and Europe in terms of this movement, which we would like to explore too. Like, what does the new generation of queer feminists in France know about this movement that happened in the late 90s and early 2000s in the USA? Even if they forgot the names of the bands, even if they can't quote the singers or the band members, that something has infused, something has inspired us. So the idea is to reclaim what has inspired us.
And I feel like we have to fill the blanks of all those backlash moments, you know? Like you fill those blanks and it's you get back to a core, pure energy, because you just forget the blanks.
Something I'd like to add is that Lynn Breedlove, former lead singer of the band Tribate, a queer punk feminist band from the late 90s, early 2000s, is today the lead singer of the band Homobiles. And so these people who made the queer punk feminist scene in the late 90s, early 2000s are now 50-something years old, but they still make art, they still publish books. And the interesting fact about this scene is that it was multimedia. If you consider the work of Michelle T, queer feminist writer from that period, who is still publishing books, still active, she's been documenting this scene in her books, like the novel Valencia. So we'd like to bring back this idea of intertwining writing, music, and image in the making of the storytelling of feminist queer punk history.
Mm-hmm. I agree, we have to do this.
So we'd be glad and honored to have the opportunity to stay in San Francisco in summer 2023 to work on this project, collect interviews, visual and sound archives, and document this specific area of queer punk feminism that's happening on stage, in books, and in this period pre-social networks, because this particular time in history has been forgotten in some ways and not told enough in Europe.
Got enough emotion for you, honey?